got, like I, badly assaulted with the former respected general of police. And of course it became news all over the world. Because Prime Ministers come and go and say, oh, we hear Anwar's not well, and we hope he's well. That's it. Then the discussions continue about what contracts to be awarded. I observed in the prison so many, they may be found guilty or not, regardless, but so many were assaulted. I had a black eye, but so many others received that sort of treatment and not heard of. And that's very painful to me to see that in my country, when we talk about Islamic justice, or many of them were trained here in such noble institutions that uphold those principles, but they're completely ignored. For what offense that were you kept in remand for 6 months? 6 months for stealing a pair of jeans. And there are rogues and scoundrels with big titles that took danceries and tunes who squandered billions of dollars. And completely not within the either the investigations or prosecution, to be prefer prosecution, or even if they do, then the judges would be extremely cordial and they would escape any fault. Now this is Malaysia, not some banana republic. But you can see the state of affairs in the country, which is appalling. This has to end. So in the area of the independence of the judiciary, you cannot purport to initiate the process of judicial reform by flaunting the rule of law. Due process must be followed. You cannot just sack judges willy-nilly because you have the power to do so. That again is the rule of power. Now I continue to emphasize this point because there is a general outrage in the country against the corrupt regime in the past. People are demanding immediate action to prefer charge against Najib, the then Prime Minister. And our thought is consistent. The investigations must proceed, due process must be followed, an independent judge must adjudicate and decide. It is not easy when you plunder the country, when many suffer. People do expect swift, fast action. But if you do so, the entire attempt or promise to ensure that this rule of law in place of the more corrupt will fail. And I think that will be a major test. Now, for decades, and certainly for the last 2 or 3 decades, we have seen how the accumulation of executive power by the ruling party has transformed this office into an instrument of mass oppression and rather stamping. I have said earlier today that I am a student of history. My work now, other than being a good spouse to the Deputy Prime Minister, I used to repeat this because Even the king was enjoying this, the prime minister. Because when we were in the palace, for the swearing in, the announcement of the arrival of Right Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, the Aziz Anwar Ismail, accompanied with the spouse Anwar Ibrahim. So I was saying to her, I have to deal with this. She said, thank you very much. I had to deal with that for the last decade. Now, this is a major challenge because this transformation must be followed by a specific agenda for reform. Corruption has been endemic in the system, from the highest to the lowest. The rule of law is just there in the Constitution and statutes. The economy somewhat plundered. Inequality has widened vastly. Pockets of poverty in the rural heartland, more so among the Daya and Indian estates and Malay villages. We have to depart from a race-based agenda to a need-based affirmative action agenda. There are many challenges. Remember what the Moines say in the Winter's Tale. If I shall be condemned upon surmises, all proves sleeping else, but what your jealousies awake, I tell you, this rigor and not law. Separation of powers is so essential that without it we cannot expect much in terms of the rule of law. Hence, for Malaysia, and I believe for all countries who believe in democratic rule and transition, judicial reform is key towards building a truly independent judiciary and, as I've said earlier, no arbitrary dismissal of judges. We need a systemic change here to ensure not just judicial appointments, but those who hold key positions in law enforcement to be free of political control. This will warrant amendments to the Federal Constitution, and in this regard, Prime Minister Tun Mahathir has hit the nail on the head when he said this week that we need the 2/3 majority in Parliament in order to effect much needed reforms, and that will set our ship on the right course for future administration. We do not have it. We have to work moral suasion to plead for reform and to get a bipartisan support and understanding. These reforms across the board are crucial if we are to honor our campaign manifesto to the people who have given their overwhelming support by voting us into power. With that power comes great responsibility to ensure that we do not rule by power, but rule by law, while staying true to the dictates of justice, accountability, and transparency. And David alluded to earlier about my case. The king summoned us immediately prior to the palace board meeting to the palace. And there's certain rules, you have to tie, so forth. Where do I find them? In prison. And then we assembled it fast, and we went. And I was straight when the king said, he was reported, and he said to me, Anwar, I believe there is going to be a big rally this evening to receive you. Please be kind enough to repeat what I have said. One, that I'm not giving you this pardon because it's my sole discretion and I have absolute power to do so. I'm doing this because I know you are innocent. You have faced this gross injustice all these years under various administrations. And please, for God's sake, when you assume power, never allow any one of our citizens having to endure that sort of brutality. Thank you profusely, but I said, Your Highness, it should not end here. I have a team which is coordinating with my friends in the UK, relooking at the case. I know everything is cleansed from 1998 to 2018, but I still want this to be resolved in court. The gross injustices, the court-lying judges, I don't want necessarily to punish them. I say, what's done is done, it cannot be undone. But the record must be straight and right. And Davy is now yours. Right. I will listen. I want it to be corrected. I want the record to be straight. It is my right, and I want to start this debate to make sure that we have independent judges who have the courage to review the case based purely on the law and the principles of justice. Thank you very much.
We've got time for just a short Q&A with Anwar, and it's such a pleasure to sit here with you. I want to ask you a little bit more about the significance of this last election. We've talked about you being the spouse of the Deputy Prime Minister, but of course you were yourself Deputy Prime Minister in the 90s. And for those of us who follow Malaysian politics for a long time, the heady days of the Asian financial crisis, before Suharto, and the Reformasi movement that you started, which of course was the beginning of the mass movement for change. But 20 years later, it's taken 20 years, and your daughter has described the last election as our own fall of the Berlin Wall. How would you discuss the significance of this election, and what was it, this Harapan Baru, the New Hope, what was it that really tipped things this time, having had several attempts at it before?
So this remarkable transformation, as I said, is unprecedented. Knowing, have you seen this capacity to change under an authoritarian regime? You see, the entire election process was fraudulent. We could not check the names, we were up in arms, and so many others were involved. I mean, Bassi, for example, series of rallies for years. But the transformation was remarkable. And particularly among the young, I must give credit to them. And there is one constituency in the remotest part of Malaysia, in Sarawak, among the indigenous tribes of Sarawak, the Dayaks. It's called Puncak Borneo. In my calculation, and all the reports I received, no possibility that we can win that constituency. 100 ringgit, 200 ringgit per person is done by the ruling party. But this time, it shocked us. So people imagine that there is urban crowd, they're more sophisticated, they believe in democracy, the rule of law. Yes, but don't block the wisdom of the Dayaks in the remote area of Puncak Borneo. So the transformation I said this way. Now, secondly, this is a majority Muslim country. But there's no hope people to talk about. Is it culture? Is it religion? Is it extremism? Is blah blah blah. But this is a majority Muslim country, showing that we have the capacity to undertake change, but more pronounced as I mentioned my address to the East London Mosque 2 nights, in which I said, look, you must always remember this. Yes, it's a Muslim majority country, but we have enormous support from the majority, vast majority of Chinese or Christians and Buddhists, and vast majority of Indians who are Hindus, and those indigenous tribes who are among them who are enemies. So always remember that fact, that this change was a result of commitment of a multiracial, multi-religious coalition. Having said that, that's not the end, it's just the beginning. How do we then translate this into coherent, effective programs that would alleviate poverty, that would ensure this adequate participation, participatory democracy in a sense, but more so democratic accountability. And that's it to my mind about the elections. Of course, people, a lot of the expectations have been high. We've just been in power for a few weeks. But I'm proud to say that in the coalition, among the leaders, there's this common resolve. And you ask them, you just speak and ask. They will say, yes, rule of law, yes, free media, yes, new economic policy that would benefit the majority of people, yes, Muslim rights, yes, Christians and Hindus can practice. This has to happen. And I have great hope for Malaysia to be seen as a model in the developing world and more so in the majority Muslim country.
Everyone about your comments and the way you've spoken about your experience since being released from prison is the remarkable grace and good humour that you've shown in terms of reconciliation with old foes, and that was something that really struck me throughout the process of meeting you in court, the good humour you showed, joking with me about speaking Malay like Indonesian and laughing in court despite everything going on. But you talk about rule of law reforms and changes around judicial independence. Malaysia has historically, when we look at the region, been respected among Commonwealth states and in Southeast Asia as having an excellent legal system, one of the better legacies of British colonialism. But your case really pulled that apart, and we talk about the non-republic, and it really undermined Malaysia's reputation internationally for sure, and even at home. But when we talk about reforms around judicial independence, the structures are there, the constitution is there, separation of powers is there. What will it take, and what are the reforms that you see necessary to change certainly the systems of patronage that no doubt led to the situation that we're in?
That we referred to this need for reconciliation, forgiveness, compassion, so much embedded in Christian ethics, in Islamic teachings of Rahmatan lil Alamin. But I would claim to be a super hero or exceptional, because that was a very painful decision I have to make. Painful for me, my wife, and worse for my children. In the first meeting that we had, and when Dr. Mahathir came over to see me in court, because they denied his right to meet me in prison. My daughters were in tears, failing to comprehend why must Papa entertain this man who we suffered for too long. My youngest daughter was in kindergarten when I was first detained, and she was in first year secondary, 6 years later, when I was released. So I make no pretension to say that I'm the great hero. Well, let bygone be bygone, let us move on. No, it was very difficult. But then I said, at a personal level I can forgive. But this is a nation. If you want to establish a platform, an agenda for the country, then you must be prepared to work with anyone on condition they subscribe to the agenda. This I do not compromise. So when Mahathir said that, well, it was a mistake to sack Anwar, well, that's one small issue. But he said that I am committed to the reform agenda. Allow me and give me a chance to make amends and change this corrupt, rotten system. Then I see, why not? I was still in prison. I was not able to contest. The general consensus is that, earlier, has always been Anwar should be the Prime Minister, but I was in jail. I could not contest in the elections. So the consensus was, get this man. And Mahathir said, look, I'm 92. And I'm prepared to move forward and make amends. And he has shown, prior to the campaign and throughout the campaign, a man working with such resolve, with tenacity, conviction, working indefatigably hard to achieve. So I find it with certainly some satisfaction that I made the right decision in supporting him. Of course, there are lots of questions. Until today, you can see in the social media, you are naive. You'll never surrender power. I say, where do you want to be expecting to stay up to 120? I tend to joke about it. In fact, I did joke about it to Mahathir. So I think, then they say, but what do you fix? 3 months, 6 months, 1 year? I say, if I start doing that, then the Prime Minister is not effective. He has to be given all the power and latitude and support, because this is a very challenging times. This is a transition from the old regime to a new system of governance. So I refuse to insist on any time frame. They say, well, maybe too long. It's okay. I'm young at 70 compared to you. And I'm doing myself. When Al Gore invited me here, he said, "No, you must come. We have dinner." I said, okay. But make sure you give me a good dinner. I've not been eating the last 3 years. And they did. And I met David Cameron, and they met George Boris Johnson. And I said, I said thank you, but I did emphasize this point. You'll be happy to hear this. Without being critical, I said, thank you. But our struggle has been purely indigenous and organic, nothing to do with the West. Because they did very little to support the human rights movement or democratic. But nevertheless, I say, look, you should be able to contribute to make sure that we can perform our judicial system and parliamentary reform. There are things that we should learn. But we should not learn cronyism from them or these deals with the big conglomerates and commissions. Because, ministers don't take bribes, they don't. They only take commissions. And I say to Muslims normally, the ministers take commissions, the sergeant, police sergeant, will take corruption. So the poor are corrupt, the rich are wealthy because they only take and they deal with commissions. But so having said that, I also said it is important that you allow the agencies involved in the investigations, because our sovereign funds of Malaysians have lost a lot of money, funds were squandered, and property bought here in the States. The United States have done something very positive in the report by the Department of Justice about all the billions stolen from Malaysia. The UK has not done it. Boris Johnson gave a firm commitment, and I was impressed with the commitment that he said they will allow bodies to professionally conduct the investigations. Of course, I told Claire was very happy about it. And on the legacy British colonialism, you see, we inherit some aspects, like the civil service, judiciary, media, which to my mind generally is acceptable. But what we regretted is because this has declined. Civil service has always been very professional. And if they agree, they're like the yes minister series. But now, we have, for example, the Secretary General of the Treasury, now exposed, receiving 250,000 ringgit a month. Halal, because it is salary plus allowance. Certainly, insane to have public servant receiving so much money as an arrangement to support the crimes of their bosses. But this, of course, have to end.
I'm glad you raised the corruption issue because, of course, we couldn't have made up how this year has played out. And largely Dr. Mahathir coming back for the lawyers in the room who aren't Malay specialists. Dr. Mahathir obviously came back united around this raising corruption that had come up under former Prime Minister Najib, which is remarkable in global standards. Hundreds of millions of dollars stolen from Malaysian public funds, pension funds. And of course, it's the Department of Justice investigation is ongoing. But Mahathir talks a lot about that was what brought him back out of retirement and resulted in your absolute finally being released from the Parliament. But he talks a lot about wanting to keep the investigation and the prosecution in Malaysia. How do you see that process working out, and is there any prospect that he may well be extradited to face corruption charges elsewhere?
I believe with the support of right now the United States, the UK, Switzerland would have been a compelling case, but it is not for me to pass judgment. It is for a professional body of investigators and prosecution to prefer a case against him and then to be adjudicated in court. I don't think it is now necessary to get foreign governments involved except for the investigations surrounding the funds which has been used elsewhere. But there are, of course, many people complicit in the crime. They are now here in the UK and Australia and other countries. I think there may be a time when they are required to return and face the music. I would encourage people to be extradited if you do not have an independent judiciary. So I think we will have them to prove that we do want to conduct these affairs under an independent judicial system, prove ourselves, then probably proceed for the second stage.
I think one of the things that marked the last year or two of Prime Minister's rule was a tightening of sedition laws and restrictions on free speech, dissidents. You talked a lot about wanting to have a more open and transparent government, and I wanted to show everybody, if we can, I don't know if this will work.
All the laws.
No, I wanted to show a cartoon.
Oh,
you can help me with the name of the room? No.
Okay.
There's been a crackdown on sedition, and obviously there's a number of members of the chambers in the room who represent Cartoon Rights International. Zuna obviously did a great cartoon, which I was hoping to show, of your case, in fact, after which he was arrested and charged on sedition laws. And already since Mahathir has come to power and it's been the election, we've seen a travel ban lifted on Zuna. But what is your law reform proposal around free speech and sedition, and how will that be taken forward?
No, it's very clear. Our position is that all repressive territorial laws must be repealed. No question, no ambiguity. Sedition law is one. Anti-fake laws. You know who decides whether fake or not? The government. So you talk about MDB, then it's fake. If you condemn the opposition leaders, that's the truth. So that has to change. But there are many other laws to that effect. I mean, even security laws that have been encouraged by the West, America, this anti-terrorism, which is totally absurd. I've seen in prison people detained just because they use a T-shirt that's written ISIS. Okay, call them up, ask them to explain. But don't detain them for 2 years. And people get excited. I know you go to the States, people use the Malcolm X or whatever. So I think we have to finally go through the judicial system and not to have these absurd security laws, unfortunately being backed by the West because of the fear of terrorism. I do not believe that one should be soft against the perpetrators of crime or purveyors of violence. Very clear. But you have to advocate by a system of laws. Otherwise, who decides? The special branch. And then, by the minister concerned. And we have seen so much of this contradiction. Is this an easy way out? Not necessarily. But there is no option except by having to with regard to the due process. I know, this obsession, I should say, against this any form of extremism and violence. Okay, which we cannot hold on. I know, I come from a country with multiracial, religious. I've seen for myself in the spate of extremism, bombings, and Bali and Jakarta, whatever. I don't believe that we should condone this in any form. We should be tough against the issue is it's been abused. People can be hauled up just like that. And I see that the abuses wisdom, but then on hindsight, I think what I experienced looking in prison, although I'm sociology from time to time, I walk to the clinic or walk to the lawyers, you pass. Or go to the private prayers in the prison compound. People come and say, please, this is my case, I have no lawyer, I have no money, You know, and there's so many of them in there. You can't have it. Malaysia is relatively not that rich, but compared to the Muslim developing world, it's good. But you can't then condone these excesses. There's Zuna is a Catholic, quite in our case, charged, denied the, is it? More there. And many, you know, that's one important. Lawyers charged, detained, revoke their, you know, passport. I mean, so many of them. I can't really mention every one of them. But this has to stop. That's it. I mean, my point is the leaders, however angry we feel against the perpetrators of crime of the past, we must not fall into this vendetta, vengeance. Must end. It's easier said than done. I go through hell, and but once it's over, it's not that difficult. I mean, to say, I mean, to forgive people, to have that compassion. After all, they inflict harm on me personally. I say, okay, forgive them. But if they still obedient, I can't say forgive them. They go to face, no, or they kill somebody. So there is a limit. So people say that you must be exceedingly kind to everyone. No, I don't. Even Najib, when it comes to the crime committed against me, detaining me, abusing me, and the injuries inflicted, the fellow thrown on the floor for weeks in prison, my condition, my age, okay, I forgive you. At the personal level. But the crimes against the country, as individuals, the money squandered, you have to follow the process. But there's a difference.
Now, I want to give a couple of minutes for questions from the floor before I ask you to leave for the airport. So, are there any questions? Just state your name and your affiliation before asking a question.
Thank you. My name is Ibrahim.
And speak up because I'm sorry.
My name is Ibrahim. So I'm from Kasachstan. You spoke a little earlier of the importance of freedom of the individual and making Malaysia a model for Muslim majority countries. In Malaysia today, those who attempt to leave the faith of Islam, the so-called apostates or murtad, are often detained and sent to rehabilitation or reprogramming camps. As you know, this contradicts the Quran, which does not advocate that Muslims punish apostates, and it contradicts the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which, as a member of the United Nations, Malaysia is deemed to have accepted. My question to you is this: what do you think should happen to apostates? To clarify, I'm asking for your personal view on this matter, not that of the party. Thank you very much.
The apostasy is a very controversial subject. I'm a Muslim, I'm a practicing Muslim. You ask me, I don't encourage people to become apostates. Neither, I mean, similarly, a Christian would feel the same way. Now, how do we deal with it? I mean, there is a procedure in our laws that you have to become Muslim, then you will declare and explain. So what is required that if you want to become non-Muslim, you explain and declare, because the issue of faith is not for me or for the judge to decide. And I think that position, I think it's also a position of many scholars. That La ikraha fi din, there shouldn't be a compulsion in religion. Many Muslim scholars interpret it differently. They say once you are Muslim, you cannot. But there have been instances throughout history and antecedents to prove that unless it's a state of war, they call it Tarita, but it's the state, the country is at war, it's different. So I'm talking about under normal circumstances, normal times. My personal view is that we cannot dictate or determine one's fate. It is for you to decide. I'm not going to make it easy because it will cause a lot of societal problems, but it's not for me to impose my personal view or political view to one person. I would argue, of course, but I'm saying that finally faith is an issue that an individual has to decide on his or her own. Having said that, I know it is recorded, it can be a highly controversial subject in Malaysia. I would say that this is my personal view. If the ulama and the societies would differ, my suggestion to them is that have a forum and allow a formal debate on this issue. I was asked recently, I was criticized whether non-Muslims should participate in any deliberations that affect in the Sharia. My answer is the positive. I mean, if it is just that how a Muslim should pray, then I don't think there's any business for others to go and question, no, should I pray this way, should I sit this way. But if it's a matter of Sharia law that would invariably affect the position of non-Muslim, directly or indirectly, through marriage or through contact, then they have a right to participate. That's all that I say. They must be given the right to participate and argue the case and debate in Parliament or outside Parliament. Now people then misinterpret that by saying that Anwar is encouraging non-Muslims to question the Sharia. No, is it? So Malaysia is multiracial. In this country we have also very, very extreme neo-conservative trends that have to deal with it. People even criticize me of being a closet Islamist because I was in Islam and I have a small beard. It's a proof. But my point is this, I make no qualms about it. I am happy the fact, and I'm glad that I was involved in Islamic work in the past and having Islamic credentials. They give me more credibility in discussing this. If you come up as a totally secular viewpoint or laicite, a-religious or anti-religion, you give this sort of expression, people say, no, you are imposing your ideological view. I know, I do not represent that view. I am a practicing Muslim. But you have also to contend with the problem that in a multiracial, multireligious country, you must allow for a reasoned debate among the citizens.
Dr. Ibrahim, my name is Michelle. I'm from Singapore. And I think I can safely say that we in Singapore have been following the struggle for many years and are very inspired by the outcome that we've witnessed this year. And I would like to ask about moving forward. Well, you were convicted on a very unjust law itself, the law of sodomy, which still exists in Singapore as well, and is a vestige of the Victorian era laws from the UK. And I wonder, moving forward, what will be your position on LGBT rights in Malaysia? And will you be moving to repeal this law?
Why do you guys ask me difficult? Second question. I've just been out of prison the last 2 days. Okay. The law is of course archaic, introduced by the British colonial masters in India. Okay, then applicated in Malaysia and Singapore. Now it is archaic because the law proposes one is guilty just by it's deemed to be associated in that sort of an act. Now, how as a Muslim, I would say this, that I'm not here in the position to decide or to influence your personal orientation. As a Muslim, I believe in the sanctity of marriage between man and woman. And I would strongly support that. And it is my understanding that in Malaysia, for example, the Christian, the Hindus, the Buddhists, I met all of them, virtually all, would support that notion of sanctity of marriage between man and woman. But then, how do you deal with those who feel otherwise? Well, if they do it in the main street of Kuala Lumpur, I think we should act against them. I mean, if they act. But otherwise, if it is on their own, their personal knowledge, it's not my business or the country's business to go and peep into people's dormitories and act against them. But that's my personal view, which does not satisfy the LGBT group and does not satisfy the Muslims. But to be frank, we are not here in a position to condemn one's orientation. One. Number two, as a Muslim, I be hypocritical if I say, no, everything's all right. No. But what is happening now under our laws is that you do it as a punitive action and also political. In my case, when it was the start, this was the first, which is under Bill 47B, which is ridiculous. Of course, chain of evidence, these are details. But I'm saying the mere fact that you go after your political adversary or enemy and using these laws, because you're embarrassed. Because they think corruption, well, most politicians are corrupt. Women Act, well, many of them are. Sodomy. You see? So that is, to my mind, grossly and manifestly unjust. So, do we repeat? I think the archaic laws vis-a-vis sodomy must be amended, changed. These are, you ask any person who is quite well versed in the law, the way it was crafted, it is clearly wrong to my mind. I did answer this about, I think the BBC question when I was in Bombay some years back. So the UMNO youth leader said, look, Anwar supports the whole idea of homosexuality and marriage between men, among men. Oh my God. So the whole country said, Anwar's a changed person now, he believes in that. So you can also appreciate the problem that people do value the beliefs. What is important is to allow, not to allow this sort of discriminatory practice or be unjust against people or to condemn people based on their personal orientation. But you ask me, public domain as a country, what do we as a country, not in London or Los Angeles, what do we, I believe, as rules, principle, in the sanctity of marriage between man and woman. Now, but must I force everyone to do that? No. Is this the business of the state to impose that? No. So there is a difference here. Let them vague attitudes that can be saved from.
I'm a Bangladeshi student doing PhD here. I just want to know, as Prime Minister, will you fully concentrate in Malaysia or will you come forward to lead the Muslim world?
I'm not leading Malaysia. No, I think the message is universal. It's interesting that Al Gore, in his concluding remark, said to me, it's very endearing, and I love him like as a brother. He said that Anwar, the experience in Malaysia, the transformation that happened in Malaysia, is certainly was to be shared by the international community. And now that I'm quite free before I assume office, actually I will do that. Not in terms of assuming leadership. Thank God I'm not leader of India or Bangladesh or Pakistan. I'm half there. But I think, and I believe, the story must be told. You know, you don't use Islamic slogans and at the same time squander billions from your people. You cannot use Islamic message and then sow the seed of discord and intolerance. And talking with Islamic ethics and then allow for this civil strife to continue. Not only among Muslims and Christians and Hindus, among those who are, who have different sects. That is, I think, the message, and I believe in a small way I will be able to contribute to save my peace. That I have the freedom. There's, according to the Acting High Commissioner is here, and he knows me, and I can say I don't represent any government, and it doesn't matter. Mahathir kind to be given exposure to many ministries, youth, culture, sports, agriculture, education, finance. He never gave me foreign ministry, but I'm not very diplomat.
Short question, sir. I'm a Muslim, but I don't want my country to be the leader of a Muslim country. I want the nation to be neutral, not for or against any country. I want it to be neutral that suits me, possible. And that, I'm in charge.
It has to happen. I mean, Malaysia is a Muslim country in the sense that it is a Muslim majority country. In the sense that what's enshrined in the constitution is the constitutional guarantees. The official language is Malay, the other languages should be encouraged and supported. It's called Islam is the religion of the Federation. With clear constitutional guarantees, the freedom of conscience. And then the position of Malay privileges and the indigenous tribes to give them some leeway because of the gross disparity in the urban and the rural, particularly some of the remote areas in Sabah are actually clearly marginalized. And also the principle of constitutional monarchy. But those things we can do that. But do we then say that as a majority Muslim country, we are Muslim, therefore we only work with Muslim countries? No. We work with first our neighbors. And among our neighbors, only Brunei and Indonesia, Muslim countries. Singapore is not, Thailand is not, Philippines. I am not too keen to mention Myanmar in this process. It is a neighbor. But then we are the Commonwealth. We still call it Commonwealth, nothing in common and none are quite wealthy. And the United Nations, because for a small country, multilateralism is important. As a small country, it is realistic that we invite investments from America, UK, Europe, China, India. Yeah, we don't do exercise. And I think principally is that. But for example, if they create atrocities inflicted against Myanmar, I don't think I like it. And to be so hypocritical, pretentious, to be interested in working well with Myanmar, for example, is a neighbor. But I don't think we should go to the extent of declaring war. Yeah. War words, yes. But it's also hypocrisy. Remember those days we talk about when Aung San Suu Kyi was in prison or in detention, we say there must be constructive engagement. Because state our case and then be able to continue the dialogue. You know what happened? In the 30 years, it is only when EU took up the issue, then the ASEAN were persuaded. 30 years this was ignored. Because were they ignored? No, really, because there was no constructive agreement, constructive engagement. There was construction that happened. You see, That's why I told you, I don't ask this question because I was never made a foreign minister. There was construction, lot of business interests, this and that. You know, this is difficult. You can't. You know, people must express atrocities. I mean, you know, very contentious issue, Israeli-Palestinian conflict. But if there are atrocities, people are being killed, women children killed, you must speak up and make it. You know, there must be a difference. You can't solve the problem, but at least as a human being, there are dictates of conscience. One must have the tenacity, purpose, courage. It's not just purely legal. I mean, legal in one sense, but it's a issue of conscience. But that's what's lacking in this world. There is no concern for moral, that broader sense, and ethical considerations. Is that because of education? I figure 3 times I asked Anwar, how is it in the United States? People take Fox News seriously. Any time give me explanation. And I said, I remember reading Govida, Armageddon, and other essays, who said that about ridiculing, because this is a great critique of the United States. He said about Ronald Reagan those days. He said, handsome, astute, but quite ignorant. But okay, then I asked my friend at the States, how on earth, with this level of sophistication of people being so educated, free media, and you come up with some obscure, ridiculous views and decisions. But we have to contend. We can't solve the problem of the world, but at least we have growing number of people, Muslims, Christians, Hindus, Buddhists, whatever, all having at least some level of conscience to know what is right, what is wrong, what is fair, what is grossly unjust, and at least be able to express on behalf of those downtrodden, those who have been denied their basic rights. This, I think, it is more important. It's not medical. It's a Muslim country. We are now having this Muslim position and Muslim view on things. Muslim view. No, to me, it's not. It's not the issue. The issue is whether we are for peace. We are just. That's critical to my mind. I'm sorry, you see that.
One last question. Sorry, the lady behind you. With the glasses.
The lady.
The lady. You've had your hand up the whole time.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for your sharing and your uplifting words, Michael. You spoke about the painful experience of being physically assaulted by the police and also suffering you had in solitary confinement, and obviously these are forms of torture. And yet, in Malaysia currently, there is still the practice of whipping and caning, which is a form of torture, as well as mysterious deaths in police custody, and the use of the death penalty. So, given that the topic is miscarriages of justice and rule of law, I wanted to hear your position about what reforms you would do on these specific things in the criminal justice system once you become Prime Minister, or maybe even before.
Maraming salamat. Now, death in custody is of course an issue. We have taken up that as an issue. The police has been informed initially by the new administration to explain and contain this. Number 2 is the issue of caning for migrant workers. The person is painful, I saw it. Every time after caning, then you walk to the clinic, and most of them is badly hurt, bloody, and they started shouting, Anwar, to say, please help us. And so when I was released for the first time in 2004, I wrote to Prime Minister Doughty. I said, politics aside, let me tell you that I saw this and I think it's shameful that we continue to do this. It is still there. We have to amend the law. And again, it's the judiciary. Some just impose 1, some just fine, and I'm sorry, detention. There's some 4. Why? We don't have papers with you. Who are these fellas? These are the poorest in the community. Work through agents who make tons of money, and then they come thinking of earning a living to take care of their family, and they keep their money and their whatever property is stolen. And this is modern slavery. And I've said this. When I met the president of Bangladesh, Prime Minister of Bangladesh, when I was Deputy Prime Minister, I was against this, using these agents who would charge exorbitant fee to bring these workers. I used the term modern slavery. They were shocked. The Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister, they were shocked. I used the term. They said, yeah, they are workers. You need them, you give them ticket. You don't need them, send them back. Give them food, give them clothing, and send them back. You don't need to take them and kill them. If they are criminals, it's a different case. If they are involved in theft or robbery or rape, whatever, it's a criminal case. But no, you can't kill them. But unfortunately, Malaysia has such laws. So, the parliament has not convened, by the way. But I appreciate your reminder that this needs to be done. I mean, I'm sorry, sometimes I feel, somehow some divine intervention and is done to this prison, sort of confinement. They walk out and so 40 fellows just came. And there's some fainted, some, and naturally it affects you. It affects you. I mean, I can picture this out, and this is the most dreadful feeling you can have. And this is my country, we don't have people like that. And they're the poorest. They're the poorest from Indonesia or from Myanmar or from Bangladesh. Well, let's hope that things can be resolved sooner than later.
With that, unfortunately, we are out of time, but Anwar, it's no underestimate to say that it's a landmark moment for human rights that you've been in Malaysia, that you've been released. I know that we all share this harapan baru, new hope for Malaysia, and the transition that's to come, and look forward to what Malaysia will look like under your rule when that time does come for you to become Prime Minister. Doughty Street certainly delighted to have played some part in that process, and we are delighted to have had you here. So please join me in thanking Doughty.